Shou Group ultimately went bankrupt. Such a huge business warship, an old money aristocratic family, towering for nearly 100 years, in just 2 months, vanished in a puff of smoke, and Zonda Group unavoidably received implication. The stock fell by a large amount. The Commercial Crime Investigation Division also started an investigation into it, and the competitors comprehensively sniped and suppressed. All of this was enough to make Shou Wenjing feel hard-pressed. Shou Yunsheng was staring at the AI on his wrist. The progress bar had risen to 99%. Because the original owner's fate changed, this world was already almost out of the Lord God's control, running on an unpredictable road. There was still a 1% probability that the world might break free and return to normal. But Hou Yunsheng wasn't worried about this. He could choose how long he stayed in this world, so there was enough time to guarantee success. Half a month ago, CBS's interview with Noah Universal's chairman was broadcasted on C Country's international news channel, and the true identity of the legendary figure was known to everyone. The Yang family that originally suffered heavy losses and almost went bankrupt quickly joined the ranks of the first-class aristocratic families in C Country by using this Thigh's east wind. Today was the head of the Guo family, Guo Lakun's wife, Lady Guo Lin Danping's 60th birthday. As Guo family's in-laws, Yang family's head, Yang Zhenhai and his wife were also invited to attend. Of course, Guo family's main goal was to meet Hou Yunsheng through the Yang family, who let Yang Zhenhai be Hou Yunsheng's uncle, and made the relationship between the two be so close. If fate developed the way it originally did, after Hou father's death, Shou Wenjing and Hou Wenning would join hands to deal with Yang family, and it quickly fell apart. As a result, the original Hou Yunsheng couldn't get his uncle's protection, and his days were very miserable. But now, Yang family was completely incomparable from that timeline. After Yang family suffered from the disinvestment crisis, Yang Zhenhai's wife, Guo Shufang, once went back home to cry for help but was rejected by Guo Lakun. Guo Lakun was married to Guo Lin Danping, who successively gave birth to 2 daughters. But because he was anxious for a son, he kept a mistress, who gave birth to a pair of opposite-sex twins that he then brought into the family. Guo Lin Danping was angry enough to die of a heart attack. The Guo family's grandparents, who were longing for a grandson, were ecstatic. Without regard for Guo Lin Danping and her 2 daughters' feelings, they made the head of the family add the twins into the genealogical records. Guo Lakun even personally educated the male twin. And now, at the age of 20, the young man had already joined the board of directors, treated just like the next head of the Guo family. You could imagine how awkward Guo Shu Feng and her mother and sister's position in Guo family was. When she went home to request help, the Guo family grandparents were soft-hearted, but Guo Lakun was persuaded by his mistress and her 2 children to add a condition to Yang family: sell the contract for the undersea tunnel project to them for the lowest price. This was no different than looting a burning house and throwing stones at someone who fell down a well. Guo Shufang wailed in anger, but she had no way out. In the end, her mother, Guo Lin Danping, and her younger sister sold their jewelry to secretly slip her a few millions. Because of this, after her nephew fixed the shortage of funds, Guo Shufang went to the mall to buy up all the jewelry. This was only to compensate her mother and younger sister. In short, if there was no Lady Guo Lin Danping, Yang family and Guo family would have already become enemies. Guo Lin Danping, although already 60, had very good maintenance. Her figure was plentiful, her face ruddy, she had a kind of serene older beauty. Guo Lakun stood at her side, meeting the guests with a big smile. Yang family's car has arrived. Seeing the slowly approaching luxury car, Guo Lakun's eyes lit up. Leading along the pair of boy-girl twins, he rushed towards the door to welcome them. Guo Lin Danping, leaning on her littlest daughter's arm for support, and hurriedly followed behind, her mouth rising in a slight mocking curve. Yang Zhenhai and his wife slowly walked over, accompanying a young man. The young man looked handsome, had a gentle temperament and, most outstanding, a pair of long and narrow, peach blossom eyes. When he looked at people, the merciless would become passionate, deeply imprinting on hearts. "This is our big nephew? Really handsome, ah." Guo Lakun warmly exchanged greetings. He also tried to introduce the young twins to the young man. Ho Yunsheng smiled faintly and nodded, bypassing the three to hold Guo Lin Damping's hand, saying, "I wish grandmother a happy birthday." Who was favored and who was unfavored was obvious at a glance. "Why on earth are you standing here? Quick, go inside." Guo Shufang intimately held her nephew's and her mother's hand and went in. Guo Lakun was very embarrassed, but he refused to let the opportunity slip by, quickly following behind with the twins. The arrival of these guests attracted all the other guests' raised eyebrows. They inwardly sighed at Gu family's lucky in-law connection. "Yunsheng, let me introduce you to. This is your cousin, Guo Zinan. He's currently learning from me, but if you have free time, you're welcome to teach him. This is your cousin Guo Baoyi. She's still attending B University, learning vocal music." Guo Lakun was persistent in pushing the pair of twins to the young man's side. Guo Baoyi smiled a bright and good-mannered smile, but Guo Zinan twisted his brow, his eyes containing disguised hostility. Zhou Yunsheng glanced at him, smiled and said, "I hear you're good friends with Wenning?" Nowadays, who didn't know the resentment between the three Ho family brothers? Originally, outsiders thought that Ho family's two illegitimate children had forced the eldest son into a dead end. Who would have guessed that the eldest son was actually an untouchable T-Rex? He just had to lift his foot and step, and the Ho clan that the two illegitimate children had viciously fought over and worked so hard to win had been annihilated. So, even if Ho Yunsheng looked handsome and gentle, others couldn't ignore his way of killing decisively. Thinking of this, Guo Zinan's face slightly paled. Guo Lakun, embarrassed, interfered. "He's still small, his vision has not opened up, so it's inevitable that he'll make friends carelessly. There's a saying, a young person's mistakes can always be forgiven." Zhou Yunsheng's smile turned even more gentle, commenting, "Young people do have the right to make mistakes, but not every one of these mistakes are worthy of forgiveness. Mr. Guo, your words are not good. Always be strict with the younger generation, and don't indulge their mistakes. Otherwise, they'll end up like my younger brother Wenning. He'll be 50 years old after he gets out of prison. Even if he wants a do-over, he's already lost his chance. Isn't that true?" On the surface, the Ho group collapsed because of a series of economic crimes, but underneath the surface, who didn't know that the Ho family's eldest son was behind it? The man only needed to move his hand to squeeze a colossus like the Zhou clan to death. Guo family, this third-rate family, wasn't even worthy enough to play around with. Guo Zinan couldn't stop trembling. Guo Lakun nodded in embarrassment, while pulling out his handkerchief to wipe the cold sweat on his forehead. Guo Lin Damping and her daughters were calmly drinking and chatting, as if they'd heard nothing, but in reality, their hearts were very pleased. Just then, there was the sound of repeated exclamations of alarm at the door. The Guo family members turned around to look, seeing a tall man slowly walk in. He wore an exquisitely tailored, pure black suit. His chest pocket was decorated with a silver-gray handkerchief, and his hair was combed back, exposing a carved and chiseled handsome face. His long and narrow eyes concealed sharpness, very daunting. Today's Du family had already become the world's #1 arms dealer. After the family was integrated, Du Zulang was in control of all the power. Less and less people capable of threatening him existed, so these years, he gradually appeared in the public eye more often. In Sea Country, most of the influential people were very familiar with his deeds, although he didn't understand why this otherworldly person showed up uninvited. Guo Lakun still immediately put down his wine glass to greet him, enjoying the envious looks on his way over. But Du Zulang directly walked past him, opening up his arms towards the gently smiling young man. "Baby, why didn't you wait for me? I was accompanying my aunt to buy a birthday gift." Ho Yunsheng gave him a hug, then handed him his glass, reaching to take another. "Grandmother, happy birthday." Du Zulang let go of his lover and gently embraced Lady Guo Lin Damping. His intimate address made the receiving end somewhat mystified. "Mr. Du, you and Yunsheng are." "He's my boyfriend." Ho Yunsheng carefreely dropped a bomb, making Du Zulang laugh joyfully. He simply loved his companion's fearless and straightforward nature. If even the courage to recognize a lover was lacking, why continue walking shoulder to shoulder? In the end, Guo Lin Damping wasn't a mediocre person. After seeing her daughter's non-reaction, showing that she was already informed, she quickly restored her calm, but standing beside them, Guo Lakun and his twins paled. Then they asked to be excused. One Noah group already had enough weight. If they added in Du conglomerate, this couple would simply be the world's strongest combination. Anyone who provoked them had a death wish. Thinking of his past behavior of hitting Yang family while it was down, Guo Lakun regretted until his intestines were green. Catching sight of his mistress, hesitating in her original position, not daring to approach, he couldn't wait to slap her to death. The spectators connected the news of Du conglomerate's upcoming cooperation with Noah Universal in the development of new weapons to what they were seeing, and exposed successive expressions of realization. As it turns out, Guo family had merely touched the edge of Yang family's light, nothing more. Not long after, Shou Wenjing arrived with his arm around a pure-looking girl. The current Zongda group, after a series of setbacks, wasn't as large as before, and he'd lost his previous public attention. Outsiders describe him with the bland and average words promising junior, with someone like Ho Yunsheng pressing him down from above. Did his excellence matter? Seeing the two men intimately attached and drinking wine, Shou Wenjing's eyes darkened. The girl at his side also exposed eyes of hatred. That seems to be your second uncle's daughter? Ho Yunsheng gently swirled the wine in the cup. The girl was one of Ho Wenjing's numerous harem members. Her family background was rather complicated. Her father was Du Zulang's second uncle, and he was originally the one most likely to inherit Du conglomerate. But he was suppressed by Du Zulang after repeated confrontation. Between uncle and nephew, deep hatred had long been sown, and each was anxious to quickly eliminate the other. Shou Wenjing openly associating with this woman was equivalent to standing with Du Zulang's enemy. Du Zulang stared at them, but his nephew just nodded slightly, his attitude very cold. Du Zulang suddenly chuckled, "It's my fault. I was too easygoing with him before." If it was the original development of fate, Du Zulang would easily forgive his nephew, then, in a moment of inattentiveness, be stabbed by the girl, causing serious injuries. Shou Wenjing killed the girl's father in revenge for his uncle. Not only did the nephew and uncle not drift apart, the relationship between them grew closer. Today's Du Zulang had a lover. His desire for familial love unconsciously faded away. Moreover, Shou Wenjing and him had no blood relationship. What kind of close relative could he be regarded as? He'd defrauded Ho Wenjing before, and he'd also helped him stabilize his situation. If not for Du conglomerate's protection, Zongda Group would have been carved up until almost nothing was left. Du Zulang was aware that he had invested more than enough in his nephew. He wasn't the Holy Father, conceding endless times, capacity for forgiveness lacking no bottom line. Since his nephew showed clear intention to part ways, he also wouldn't urge him to stay. Thinking like this, Du Zulang raised his glass to his nephew, then drained it. Ho Yunsheng was surprised to find that the progress bar on his AI had suddenly risen to 100%. He muttered to himself a bit, then found the reason. Du Zulang was Ho Wenjing's biggest golden finger. Even if all his women were added up, their influence couldn't compare to Du Zulang. Because Du Zulang supported him, he could escape unscathed from all kinds of disasters. Now that Du Zulang had given up being his shield, if he someday met another crisis, it wouldn't be so easy to resolve. Of course, it was also now 100% impossible for him to achieve his fated achievements. Changing the protagonist's fate was a shortcut to changing the world's trajectory. But unless the protagonist was actively harming him, Shou Yunsheng wouldn't take the initiative to provoke them. Shou Wenjing was cheated because he jumped into the trap by his own will. In addition to changing the protagonist's fate, Shou Yunsheng could also change history, change technology, change the supporting roles and his own fate. and other methods to damage the Lord God's system. He didn't need to fight to the death with the protagonist, but it was undeniable that Du Zulang's decision helped him save a lot of time, and also helped him avoid a lot of trouble. His mood suddenly happier, Shou Yunsheng hooked his arms around Du Zulang's neck and kissed his cheek. "Thank you, dear. You've done me a big favor." Du Zulang stared blankly, then he reacted, grabbing the back of his head and exchanging a deep kiss. Also, he secretly slipped a ring onto his left ring finger. The guests stared slack-jawed, some even cried out in alarm. The next day, the two business giants' sex scandal spread all over the nation, but the public relations team on both sides didn't come out to quell the news.